The migration challenge.
So considering the benefits which I have explained in the previous slides, an organization can easily decide saying that we can migrate the application from on-prem to AWS. So now the migration journey has been begun in this webinar, but taking the decision of migrating the workload resource is easy, but in real-time scenario, the organization facing a lot of challenges. Let me display you the major challenges faced by an organization on moving the application from on-prem to AWS. The first thing is creating similar infrastructure in cloud. Say, for example, in your on-prem environment, you have 3 servers. So these 3 server instances has to be created in your AWS as well. It is not just a sake of creating the servers, like you have multiple server configuration has been done on your on-prem. So all those server configuration has to be present in your AWS instance as well. So one resource has to take the checklist of all the server configuration available in your on-prem. So that checklist has to be referred on your AWS and it has to be implemented one by one in each of your AWS instances. The second phase is downloading and installation of the software. Your application might be SharePoint application, or it might be Sitecore application, or .NET application, or some other Java application. The corresponding software has to be downloaded and it has to be installed. After downloading and installation, there are multiple configurations which you'll be performing, so that your application or your software aligning with your application to work on AWS. And third phase comes configuration of the application. So this starts with the data migration. So you will be taking the backup of the data repository from your on-prem, and you have to restore that backup in your AWS. After the data backup has been restored, you will be doing multiple configuration on your database. And after the data has been migrated, you will be migrating the project files from your on-prem to AWS. So once the project file has been migrated, you will be doing multiple configuration on the project files. That configuration has to be done in such a way that your application should work in AWS as it was working in on-prem. So considering all these processes, so this whole process is a time-consuming process. So time-consuming process, and most importantly, this is a manual implementation. This process is manual implementation process. Since it is a manual implementation process, we cannot say it is error-free. Any single error in any of these 3 phases might break the application. So this is a huge challenge faced by an organization nowadays on moving the workload resource from on-prem to AWS. But AWS has a solution for this. So that solution is this service, which is AWS Application Migration Service, which can be shortly called as AWS MGN service. So this is automated implementation. This service simplifies the migration, and also it reduces the cost and time of migration process from on-prem to AWS. Let me explain in a detail about this AWS application migration service. So this is, as I explained about, this is automated implementation, unlike manual implementation. So this uses the methodology called lift and shift methodology. As the name suggests, it will lift the service from on-prem and it will shift into AWS. So at the back end, it has a specific feature called replication job. What it will do is it will take an exact replica of the servers from your on-prem and it will create the server instances in AWS using that replica. So this process of migration includes server configuration migration, server instance migration, and software migration, and also this migration includes the configurations and file migrations, and including the file configurations. Everything will be migrated using this application migration service. Since the migration is done by using the replication method, there won't be any compatibility issues. So your application will be working in AWS in the same way as it was working in on-prem. And the migration for this application duration for this migration is depends upon the server size, your source server size, and source data repository size. Even though the size is huge, the cutover windows and the duration of the migration will be very less when you're comparing to the manual implementation. So once you did the migration using AWS MGN service and your application is available in AWS, then it can leverage the AWS services and capabilities. Leverage the AWS service and capabilities in the sense it can acquire the benefits which I explained before, like scalability, flexibility, and cost reduction. Everything can be attained with your application with much improved productivity. So this is how this is how simple is the AWS migration. It will simply replicate the from your source to your destination, which is AWS cloud. So I mean, on the later slide, I'll give you the brief demonstration of how to do the migration of the single server from on-prem to AWS.